Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Wings of Glory, a Football Manager 2018 Let's Play with Zebu Nation. New branding, I guess. It's a little bit longer. I don't know if it rolls off the tongue quite as much, so maybe I won't stick with it. But anyway, that's what we're doing right now. We're here with the Wings of LAFC, and we're getting ready for our very first game in the MLS. That's right, our inaugural season. We're getting ready to face, who are we facing again? We're facing the Philadelphia Union. It's an away game, so we won't get to bask in the sunny stands there in Los Angeles. Although I will say my one complaint about this game is how much rain there's been in Los Angeles this season. That's not why you live in LA. You don't live in LA because it rains in January. Okay, maybe it does rain a little bit more in January than the rest of the year, but come on. It's sunny LA for a reason. We're supposed to be, 75 and sunny, not 55 and wet. Anyway, we're in Philadelphia, so I guess we can't complain about the rain for this game. But before we get to that game, before we play it, we got some business to attend to. And of course, in MLS, business means trades and transfers and things like that. And we haven't had any transfers, but we have had a couple of trades. Now, earlier, actually in the off season, way back in December, we traded away one of our international slots and got a couple of draft picks that we used in the MLS Super Draft. So I was okay with that. But we got to this year's registration, and I realized I kind of needed that international slot because I went out and I got one too many international players. So I had to go out and make another trade. I looked around. I looked through every other team's registration and looked to see who wasn't using all of their international slots. So I sent out trade requests to Real Salt Lake for a third-round pick for their international slot, and they agreed right away. So maybe that was a little bit too good of a deal on their part. Maybe I should have offered them a fourth-round pick. But whatever, I needed the international slot, and I didn't necessarily need the third-round pick because I made another trade, and that is in the this is something I didn't even know was possible. Something I didn't know was a tradable asset. But my first pick overall in the March waiver draft, Colorado sent me a trade request and was like, "We'll give you a third-round pick for your first pick in the waiver draft, plus 75,000 in allocation money," which I wasn't real happy about spending. But I wasn't gonna do anything with that waiver pick anyway because I had already filled out my roster and I didn't have any room left for any more people, any more players. So I just, might as well get some value out of it. And maybe I overpaid. Maybe it wasn't actually a great trade, but it felt like the right thing to do at the time because I was just going to pass and not get anything out of it. So at least now I can get another player out of this, not this year, but next year, when maybe I might actually need him because I don't need him right now. As I mentioned, my roster is full. And speaking of registration, let's take a look at said registration. Here we go. We have registered the maximum of 30 players. We have 3 designated players, 8 internationals. So we had 7 before. We needed that extra. We've got 10 off budget, 6 reserve players. Now I had to do some finagling here. I had to send some guys out on loan just to make sure that these numbers worked. So that I sent some of my reserve players out on loan. I sent a couple of international guys out on loan just to get them off the books and make sure that everything was copacetic. And then it comes to the salary cap numbers. I didn't really have to adjust these numbers. I was pretty happy about that. Now we've got a ton of money if we needed to address the salary cap because we got $1 million in allocation money, which is huge for MLS. Now it's not huge for last version of FM because there was a massive bug in last year's FM that gave MLS teams hundreds of millions of dollars in allocation money. So, the salary cap was essentially moot last season. But now this season, they fixed the bug, and we have $1 million, which is part and parcel of us being an expansion team. The MLS gave us some extra money to make sure that we could get players and field a competitive team. So now if we needed it, if we needed to overspend, we could, but we didn't need to. We came in a full 100 grand under the team's salary limit, so that's pretty good. And yeah, so our registration is set. We didn't have to cut anybody, didn't have to waive anybody. Had to send a few guys out on loan and had to make that one trade. But other than that, fine and dandy. Registration is looking good. So let's see what happened since last time. We played that game and had the most boring 0-0 draw in history, and then we came back against Edmonton, and our second teamers had a pretty darn exciting 4-4 draw versus Edmonton, which, I mean, we shouldn't be drawing against Edmonton. We shouldn't be letting Edmonton score 4 goals on us. But our reserve defense just is not that good. We got a lot of youngsters back there, a lot of new guys. Even our goalkeeper is a youngster. We got problems on the second team. But hopefully going forward, we're not going to be playing many fully rotated sides. We're going to be able to keep a lot of veterans in the lineup. And what I found out from my little preseason beta run of this with FC Dallas is that the young players will come along, and by the end of the season, they'll be capable backups. So I don't think we have to worry too much about this team in terms of depth. It's just a matter of having patience with the young players and not going crazy and buying too many veterans, which I think I did already. I bought too many veterans, brought in too many veterans. Our board is a little unhappy with that because I told them that I was going to, sign a lot of youngsters to the first team. So they're not too happy about that, but it's passable. It's okay. We're doing well in other areas, so it's all right. Do we want to run down the checklist? I mean, I feel like we just ran down the checklist and not much has happened since then. Finances, fine. Board, fine. Club, fine. Fine. Everything is fine. Medical center wise, look at that. No injuries. Everybody is raring and ready to go for the first match of the season. I guess the only thing we have left to do. Did I want to look at our staff? We haven't really looked at our staff this year. Might as well take a quick look at these boys. Our coaching team is okay. We're sort of middle of the road in terms of MLS, overall. Our technical is above average, so that's good. Everything else is pretty much average. We don't have the highest in anything. We don't have the lowest in anything. So our coaches are pretty good. We got Javier Molinari as our assistant coach, and he's probably our best coach, and he's not really that great. He'd make a better scout than a coach at this point. But he's got 10 attacking, 10 defending. We hired somebody recently, Jordan Seabrook, 13 attacking. So he's kind of our attacking coach, 12 technicals. So you can see kind of the level of coaches we're working with here. Oh, there we go. Wade Barrett. He's our best by far. Defensive coach, 15 defending. Also can double as a fitness coach if we need him, 17, 15 technical. So, our coaching staff isn't great, but it's passable at the moment. We do have a fitness coach. We have a goalkeeping coach who is, okay. He works with youngsters well, which is good because we got a lot of young goalkeepers. Our oldest goalkeeper is 22 years old. So he's, a lot of our coaches are good working with youngsters, and we're going to need that. So, we got room to improve in the coaching staff, but it is kind of hard to find great coaches in MLS, especially when you're first starting, especially when my coach is not really the best player or not really the best coach. I did get a new coaching badge. Where does it show the coaching badges? Does it show the coaching badges? I'm sure it's somewhere on here. Hello, coaching badge. Continental Pro license. I guess that's good. I don't know if that's the highest. I think it might be the highest because I can't ask for another coaching badge. So anyway, I got a little bit of improvement there. My attacking, defending, and fitness have gone up to 13. Player knowledge has gone up to 13. So I got some improvements here and there, but still sort of a middle of the road coach, and that's kind of what you're looking at with most MLS teams until you get established, and then you can start finding some coaches who want to come and coach for you. But we're just a 1.5-star reputation, so nobody's real interested in coaching with us. Yeah, I guess that's it. We are entering into MLS, as I mentioned. We can look at sort of the preseason preview, and we are way down. Predicted 22nd in the league, 1,000-to-1 odds, which is pretty standard for an expansion club. Most people don't expect a lot out of an expansion club, although there have been expansion clubs in the past that have won the entire league. Chicago comes to mind as maybe the only club that has, as an expansion club, won the league. But last year, Atlanta United, they made the playoffs as an expansion club, but they're kind of the rarity in sports and even in MLS, which doesn't have a huge history. Most expansion teams kind of come in like Minnesota came in last year, struggled at the beginning, and then kind of came around, and I don't think they finished last, but they certainly didn't make the playoffs. But we have some exceptions of our own. Number one is over here in the value category. When you look at key players, we have two of the highest valued players in the league on our roster. Carlos Vela comes in at $7 million value, which is kind of funny because basically the month before he signed with us, he was valued at $25 million when he was playing in Spain. And then the minute he gets to MLS, his value drops to $7 million. So I think those are just some mechanics that the game is using to price control, because they mentioned in some of their videos that they were going to sort of work through a lot of the ballooning prices that are happening in soccer around the world. But that's not really happening in MLS. MLS is really bargain shopping. So I think that's just sort of a game mechanic to say, look, if you're over in Europe, get ready to pay the big bucks. Get ready to pay like value added tax, I guess. Not really, but something similar where if you're at Man United or Man City or somebody like that, they're just going to automatically charge you 25% more for a player because you can afford it. That sounds like something sort of game mechanic wise they might do. And then, of course, our other high-profile player, Hector Villalba, is worth $5.75 million. And then down here in the transfers, we also had three of the highest transfer fees paid in the league so far. We had Omar Tejeda at $850,000. We had Rodrigo at $1.9 million. I mean, not Rodrigo. Rodrigo. There we go. That's the pronunciation I worked on. I went online and I tried to figure out how to pronounce this dude's name, and I couldn't really find it. The AO is something that appears a lot in Portuguese, and I sort of looked up how to pronounce that, but that didn't really help me pronounce his whole name. So I found a volleyball player. I guess there's a famous volleyball player from Brazil who has this same name, and in English his name is pronounced Rodrigo, just like if he was Spanish or something like that. So I'm going to sort of combine the two pronunciations. I know Brazilians use H's for R's, so we're going to call him Rodrigo, and that's going to sound a little better than what I was calling him previously. But yeah, so he's one of the little side point there. Anyway, he's one of the biggest transfers this season in MLS at 1.9 million, and then of course the number one transfer by a long shot was Carlos Vela at 5.75 million. So you can kind of see the economy at work here in MLS. You're looking at sub $5 million signings most of the time. Anything above $5 million signing is going to be something somewhat exceptional and unique to that particular season. So because of all that, you see here we've got the highest net transfer spending in the league of $8.83 million. But that's kind of misleading because we had a whole team to fill. So we brought in 13 players with that $8.83 million, and I think that's pretty good value. Obviously, much less than $1 million per player, so, good enough, in my opinion. All right. So we're really looking to bust this. I mean, we've invested enough money in this team that we got to expect much, much better than 22nd place overall. I mean, I'm looking at playoffs. I want a playoff position this season. Maybe that's unrealistic, but I think we've spent the money and put a team in place that can do it if we get them to work together. If we get these dynamics figured out. Look at our hierarchy. We still got hierarchy problems. We got Vela up top, and Vela doesn't really consider himself to be a team leader. He doesn't really care if his teammates look at him as a team leader, and he has poor leadership skills, like leadership of 10. I mean, I guess that's not poor, but it's not really leadership quality of what you want as your number one team leader. So we got leadership issues. We got social group issues. We got all these dudes down here just floating around by themselves, not in any part of the core groups. Happiness issues, not so much. We got one guy who's unhappy with training, but he'll get over that soon enough. Everybody else is fine. Everybody else is pretty happy. So I'm just hoping that, we can come together as a team. We don't need to hold a team meeting, apparently, so let's just get to our match. Play this dang old match against Philadelphia. Take a look at them in our team meeting. You've been noted that you signed. All right. I should have answered that before the video started. I had to quit the save and go out, and I thought that I thought we were closer to the match. But anyway, it's not that big a deal. Here we are. Here's our groups. We are, of course, in the Western Conference. This is something that maybe you take for granted as an American sports fan, because every American sport is split up into Eastern Conference and Western Conference. Predominantly because our country is split by the Mississippi River. Everything east of that is considered east. Everything west of that is considered west. So geographically, Eastern Conference, Western Conference just makes sense. But if you're not from the United States and you don't care about U.S. sports, maybe that's not as natural to you. Maybe you don't understand the geography of the situation. So that's what it is. We got big mountains and rivers that make, going cross country east to west kind of difficult. So that's why they split things up east to west like that. Now, of course, professional teams, they just take the plains, so it doesn't really matter the geography, but it's one of those things that it is held over from ye olde times when there weren't really many sports teams out west, to be honest. All the sports started in the east, and sort of if you were in Minnesota, that was considered west. Oh my God, you're so far out west, you're in Minnesota. So the Western teams kind of got added on later, so that's why they created Western conferences and things like that for travel reasons and whatever, cultural reasons, I suppose. Here is our tactical briefing. Again, I'm not sold on these tactical briefings. What do they give us? What do they provide us other than an extra team talk where we say, hey, dudes, we're going to play this formation? I think either they should make this more important or get rid of it. Go back to how it was. Because they need to make it this is your team talk and you're preparing your team. And if you do anything different, it's going to be a shock to the team and they're not going to react well. You're going to have players who are very flexible if come game day you suddenly decide, hey, guess what? We're running the diamond today. Or guess what? Villalba, you're not starting today. Maybe there should be more consequences for not following through with the plan you set forth here in your team talk, your briefing. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe nobody would be happy with that. Opposition. Target David Duarte. Maurice Adu. I don't like that guy. Adu has to be limited to his much weaker side. Okay. I don't know. Let's hand over the team talk. I don't know if this is just supposed to be an easier way to do this or a more intuitive way to do this, but it just doesn't work for me. I haven't quite wrapped my mind around it yet. So it's one of the few changes in FM 18 that I'm not real sold on. I'm still not sold on the scouting packages. I haven't seen the real benefit of those. I mean, we get the emails and stuff, but when it comes to important things like going out and finding free agents and scouting the draft, especially the MLS Super Draft, I can't rely on the scouting packages. I gotta scout these dudes myself. So I haven't quite seen the benefit of those yet. Quick report, latest fitness test. Nick Hagelin, not quite fully fit and should be monitored. Does that mean his match sharpness isn't fully fit? While you are free to disagree, advice, increase aggravated... He's not on this list, though. So Rodrigo is injured, by the way, if you missed our last game. He is out for a couple of days, so he's not going to play. That's why we're using a slightly different formation than what we used in our preseason match that we showed. All right, so here's Philadelphia. What's Philadelphia look like? Now, this could be where the scouting package comes into play, but even though I have the North American scouting package, look, I don't know half the guys on this team. And even though I'm sending my scouts to scout our next opponent, I don't know half the guys, or maybe I'm not. Am I sending these assignments? Did I cancel the... No. Champions League, Chilean, okay. Analyze next opposition. So this guy, Nate Searle, our data analyst, should be telling us about our next opponent, right? I don't know. Maybe there's some other assignment I'm missing. Because I did remove a lot of assignments for the MLS Super Draft. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get to our team selection. So we're gonna leave everybody in. We're gonna leave our starters in. And we're not going to move anybody out because we're getting mixed messages when it comes to who's injured or not. And we want Hagelin in there at the central defense to start the game with. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna go with the 4-3-3 sort of formation. The 4-1-2-3 DM wide. Too many numbers. Anyway, let's submit the team. Okay, so we are lacking match sharpness. That's to be expected. You know, because we heavily rotated and whatever. Here's the lineup. Stefan in goal. Romney and Williams at the fullback position. Watts, Hagelin, central defense. Caldwell, Delgado, and Martinez in the midfield. And then, of course, Villalba. Pacheco, our setup man, is back in the starting lineup with Vela up top as our striker. Because, you know, homeboy is injured. Brazilian superstar man, Rodrigo, is injured. Good luck out there. All right, let's go. Let's get this party started. Our first ever MLS game with LAFC. It's been a long time coming. Been a whole year of us sitting here waiting. Let's go already. Send the assistant coach. I don't care to talk to you. Here is Philadelphia Stadium. Philadelphia Union. I don't know what it's called. I should probably look that up and see what their stadium is actually called. But this is the only time we're going to play here, so it doesn't really matter. We play the Eastern Conference teams once. We play everybody else in the Western Conference twice. And then we play a couple of teams 3 times, which I am assuming we're going to be playing LA 3 times. Because when I play with FC Dallas, I usually end up playing Houston 3 times, which is our rival. So you add up all those numbers together, and eventually they get to whatever our... I think we get played 34 games a season, so I don't know if they're going to keep that now that we have an expansion team. But I think they're going to fudge the numbers somehow, some way, so that we stick with 34 games. Should probably check the schedule and see that out for sure. But MLS, the schedule is never going to be perfect until they get to that 30 team level, and then they can have a more realistic type schedule. So there we go. Teixeira trying to score on the corner. This is no good. We are in the white, by the way. It's our away white. So this is Philadelphia with the ball. And they didn't score on the second ball in, which is an improvement. But so far they are still getting the highlights. Sapong, Stefan with the nice stop. That was really the first highlight of the match, right? Yes. Correct? Correct. All right. So Haglund is looking nervous. I don't like that when one of our veterans is looking nervous. He might be still a little nervous because of his lack of match fitness. Maybe he's worried about that injury. But here's Philadelphia again. Rosenberry, his inbound pass is stolen by Romney, who just boots it downfield. Nobody particularly there on our side. Here's Bedoya now up to Edu for Philadelphia. Back to Duarte. Is that the guy we're closing down on? Duarte? I don't think we should be closing down on their central defense. Might not be a sound tactical strategy. Here's Pontius into Sapong again, and Stefan with the stop again. Now they are getting some tries, but they're not particularly dangerous. Here's a free kick. Teixeira sends it in. Again, not a particularly dangerous shot, but they are getting all the highlights. So what sort of tactics are we looking at here? We are on the attack. Flexible. Yeah. I mean, it's all right. It's what we've been practicing in the off season, so hopefully these guys can learn something, or have learned something. 33 minutes, the clock is just rolling. Nothing is really going on. I usually like to save my changes for halftime. Here we go. Throw in on the Philadelphia Union side. We get it stolen, though. And here's Philadelphia on the counterattack. Sapong drops it to Bedoya. Looks like they're playing a control game here. Short passing. So they're not going to be booting it down the field, I don't think. There's a decent pass up to Sapong across midfield. Sends it all the way across the field to the far side, and then they're just, I don't know what they're doing. They're ping-ponging. They're playing table tennis over here. Now, here we go. Vela. Delgado sends it downfield to Pacheco, our setup man, on the run. He's on the loose. Goal. Forget this setup man stuff. He's got the pace to break downfield. That's definitely one of his better attributes, is that speed and quickness that he's got. And he just beat the Philadelphia defense downfield. Nobody was really paying attention. Vela, everybody's focused on Vela, and look at Delgado finding the man on the run. Nice pass, nice finish. 1-0. This stuff is easy. This MLS, easy peasy. All right, now Philadelphia wants to waste all the time. They can waste all the time they want. Vela's not looking too good here. 6.2 rating. Come on, my man. We're not doing well with possession, so maybe second half I think we'll switch to a possession game and see if we can work the ball into the box and get Vela involved. He's been kind of moved around a little bit this offseason. Tried him out on the wing, tried him at attacking midfield, tried him, of course, at striker where he's at now, and we're just trying to, get the most out of this guy. Spent a lot of money. He's our best player, maybe the best player in the entire league. So we got to find ways to use him. Add team instruction, retain possession. What is this? Analyze data. What? It's just it's like a bingo. I don't understand. Anyway, make changes. So they really want us to retain possession. Okay. Let's go to the pep talk here real quick. The atmosphere is average. Most of the team are generally interested in what you have to say. Wow. All right. Anyway, I'm happy with your performance so far. Keep it up. Let's go back to our tactics here. Team instructions. Going to work it into the box. We're going to control it. See how that does for us. And then, anything else? Anything else? No, I think we're all right. I think we're good. Start second half. Let's go. Vela starts with the kickoff. here we are getting our first shot of the second half. Villalba to Delgado. We're hopefully going to work it downfield. Feel it. Not a great pass there, Villalba, and there ends the highlight. All right. So if the clock ticks down, then I guess that's okay. Let's close down on who? Analysis. Close down on Ilishino. All right. He can really cross the ball. That's fine. Go back to the field here. No highlights. 54 minutes down. Here's the first highlight. Hagland. He used to be right back. Now he's central defense, so I don't know that I really want him throwing the ball in. And that was not successful. Here's Zebu in the corner for Philadelphia. Just has to sort of boot it out of the corner. Caldwell plays that backstop role from the defensive midfielder. Martinez, though, the rookie, loses the ball. Sapong sends it forward now to Chera on the run for Philadelphia behind the defense, and score's tied. So tit for tat right there. We score on a long ball, they score on a long ball. Turnover by Martinez is kind of deadly right there in the midfield. Number 3, our right central defender, not paying particular attention. I think that's Hagland. Not happy about that, homie. No, that was... Yeah, that was Hagland. He's number 3, right? Yeah, he is indeed number 3. You're supposed to be our dude back there. You're supposed to be our veteran holding things down. Look at him with a 6.4 rating. Well, I mean, he is not match fit. So here we go. Here's Pacheco again on another run. Is he going to use that crossing ability? No, he just drops it back to Delgado Martinez. Back to Delgado. Sort of a, I don't know what that was. A shot, I suppose. But it wasn't good, whatever it was. And now Philadelphia on the counterattack. Sapong down the far sideline. He's looking into the box. Watts is there, luckily, though. But Philadelphia retains possession, looking to reset their offense. Adu back out to Ishino. We're closing down on this character now. Nice foot stomp. Probably going to get you a yellow card. No, just a foul. All right. Here they are, free kick. Ishino again. Ilishino. Looks like IL. Anyway, Teixeira with a shot off the crossbar and out. Wow, that was pretty close. All right, 66 minutes down. We might want to look into some substitutions. We got some people not playing very well, particularly in the central defense. I don't know that we have a lot of options off the bench. We can bring in Alash. He's a guy who can play defensive midfielder for us. We don't really have anybody else who can play defensive mid. Although we could move Caldwell down there, or we could move Martinez down there in a pinch. I guess Delgado could play there as well. So Hagland is just not performing. So we're going to put Alash down there. Even though he's not feeling good right now, he's quite poor. I forgot why. I think we told him like to train harder or something, and he was like, nah, bro. Not gonna do it. Anybody else we're looking at replacing? 8.3 for Pacheco. Look at this. This kid wants a starting spot. He knows he didn't come in on a big signing. But you know what? He wants to play. He's showing it. Do we sub out Vela? How crazy would that be? First game. Dude's rocking a 6.2 rating. I mean, I don't want to take out him or Villalba. Just don't want to do it. So we're going to let their star power carry them a little farther, but they better make a play. That's all I got to say. You got to make a play to earn your pay. Something like that. I don't know. All right, Alash. Get in there, my man. There we go. Here's Vela. Here he is. Free kick. Nope. I mean, that's one reason to keep him in. Just he could score on the free kicks. He didn't there, obviously, but he's done it in the preseason before, and he's got that ability. So anytime you got a guy who can take and make free kicks, it's like, you know, a spectacular superpower in MLS. You know, there's just not a lot of guys other than Giovinco who scores like an inordinate number, which is like 12 in 3 seasons or something like that. But anyway, it's very valuable. There's a Lash playing a nice defensive play there, kicking that corner out of there. But here they are with the second ball in. Sapong can't get ahead on it. Ugh. We got to work on our corner defense. We've worked on our corner offense, set piece, but now we need some set piece defending because we're allowing too many of these. You know, the second or third ball in. I mean, our team is just sort of back there, no sort of formation, no sort of no sort of nothing. All right, so now we're down. So now we got to go back on the attack. Let's get expressive. Let's use tighter marking and all that stuff that we don't necessarily want to do, but might be necessity. There's a penalty. We were doing so well. 1-0. We were just sort of flying high, just sort of coasting to a victory. Now suddenly, in the last 20 minutes, it's all falling apart. We're about to go down 2 goals. Pontius, yeah. Chris Pontius. Isn't that a dude from Jackass? Anyway. There's the free kick. Yeah, we'll skip that. All right. We got our fullback on attack already, Romney. How's he doing anyway? 6.6. Our defensive ratings is just god-awful. And you know what? Vela, if you're not going to provide for us, we're going to bring in Covea. Send him as an advanced forward. Sure, advanced forward. A little bit more of a traditional attacking role than the Trequartista. $85 minutes down. I'm sure Vela's going to get upset at being taken out. I didn't think about that. Here's Philadelphia again. We got some sort of weird behind the goal angle here of Picault as he just sort of dribbles nonchalantly the wrong way down the field. Drops it all the way back to Blake. Blake's a good goalkeeper. He is hard to score on. But I don't think that's been our issue so far. There we go. Pacheco down to Corvea. Here's our substitute. Are we going to look like geniuses? Ooh, no, not really. Not after that. 87 minutes down. 2 goals down. 4 minutes of stoppage time. So the stoppage time is still pretty high these days. I don't think there's been no injuries this game. But yet we still got 4 minutes of stoppage time. Not that I'm complaining, but I guess I am kind of complaining. All right, we got a minute left to score 2 goals. I don't think it's happening, but maybe we could get one in the last minute, make it exciting. Maybe they could get one in the last minute to make it look like we got drubbed. So Watts just going to sort of boot it. There's Villalba. See if he can do something with it. Centers to Martinez. Martinez. Come on, buddy. I know you're a rookie, but you played much better than that in the preseason, and we're just going to basically surrender here. Run out the clock. Stefan will boot it downfield. He'll give it one last college try. Duarte handles that easily in Philadelphia. Just going to play around with it until the final whistle, and there it is. Okay, there's a lot of people out there saying how much more difficult FM 18 is from FM 17. And what I noticed by playing the beta is that the first season is tough. And then it seemed like the second season came around to being a little bit more what you're used to. So I think once you get your team settled, your tactics settled, your dynamics, once they're all in order, I think your team plays much better and more to what you're used to. Team talk, I don't know. Far from pleased. Everybody but Vela. Come on, Vela. What's up, buddy? What's up, my man? All right, so the assistant coach was able to fire up a couple more guys, but Vela is still switched off. Not happy about that. Not happy about a sulking superstar. So there we go. Our very first game in MLS is sort of a disheartening 3-1 loss, but we got some home games coming up, so hopefully, the supporters will pick us up. And if you look online right now, in real life, a lot of the LAFC supporters are getting their season tickets and finally finding out, where they're going to be seating and all that. So it's sort of an exciting time for the real fans of LAFC. So hopefully, once we get to play a real game in the stadium, we'll get to feed off some of that energy. But anyway, that'll be for next time. And the way I usually like to do things is I'll come back like mid-season. I don't know if I want to do like a million videos a season. So usually I try to come back either, if I'm really invested in the series, I'll do like quarter season, mid-season, 3/4 season, end of season playoffs. But I think, I got some other video series I have to get to other than this one and other than Football Manager. So I think I'll just come back at mid-season. We'll do a little check-in. Maybe if we get to like a US Cup final or something like that, we'll show that. And then we'll come back for the end of the season, and hopefully we'll come back for the playoffs. So until then, we'll see you later, and bye-bye.